wearing get Gymshark.
I know. I need to start wearing something else because I'm actually not enjoying the Gymshark stuff.
I
But
love
I
yeah,
actually own nothing from them.
I love how you're giving Gary a hard time for looking like or being sponsored by Gymshark as you're dressed up as a milk tray man there, Shannon.
A milk tray man.
The milk tray man there with the high necked collar with the black.
It's green.
Well, I don't know, your fucking 280p camera's picking it up as black.
It's
uh,
Nike retro.
I can see the
Adam
green.
got it for me from Christmas. I love it. Stunning.
Yes. In other news, apparently one person finds Shannon hilarious.
Absolutely not. Loads of people find me hilarious. You're just jealous that it naturally comes to me and I don't have to act.
Shannon, just because
I've risen with the tism.
you've got 9 voices talking to you in your head doesn't mean it's multiple people.
Do you know that movie is it Split? That's me.
hmm I think Kyle's just struggling to come to terms with the fact that he is Mr. Science Guy and me and you bring the bands.
Exactly. I think it's just absolutely shattered his dreams of whatever he thought he was in this podcast.
Yeah. If I let you two just run riot, it'd be like a fucking sci-fi podcast.
A fantasy role playing podcast.
Sometimes tinfoil hats come out.
And welcome back to the Biofitness Podcast.
Hello.
I know. Do you know what I like about this being our podcast and our rules? I can literally sit and have my breakfast on it and nobody can say fucking anything about it.
Hey man, I've Milo beside me because he was crying. I was like, imagine if I actually had to go into an office and they'd be like, sorry, you can't take your emotional support dog.
Well, I've got Rocky here. He's sitting beside me, looking like he's he's very wet at the moment. We took him out a walk, and he wasn't
Oh.
enjoying that.
Did you not put his raincoat on him?
He's not gay, Shannon.
He is. He has a little yellow raincoat. Don't even try to deny it, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah, Gimp.
he had that when he was a puppy, and then he grew out of it because he was on the protein.
We'll get him a bigger size.
Right.
What this week's topic? What we're talking about, Mr.
Right.
Science Guy.
I think it was brought up that people feel that they have to go super hard in January.
Yeah, there's an expectation to be super good and super on it in January. Obviously not for everyone, but I think for quite a lot of the population, especially from what we're seeing on social media. It's that I feel like it's that whole kind of new year, new me mindset and mentality. So yeah, I think it would be good to talk about it. I've just been hand delivered Freddie, so if you hear a baby screaming,
Show
sorry.
us the baby.
Hello, friend.
Hello.
For anybody who's listening on Spotify, Gary's turned the camera to Freddie, and Freddie's currently not waving but smiling towards the camera. This is the audio description version of the Biofit with Us podcast.
Aye. Well, the video version is on Spotify as well, so all you would need to do is look at your phone. Go back
Not when you're driving.
No, when you're driving, yeah. Go back 10, 15 seconds and have a look at your phone. Park up.
He's a cute
Park up and
baby.
look at your phone.
Right, let's go for it. January, people thinking that they have to go super hard. I put a post up about this a couple of years back, not necessarily named it January, but I think people wouldn't feel that they have to go that hard if they didn't go to extremes in both senses. A lot of people do fuck all between September and December, and then they feel because emotion's super high in December that they need to almost cut out absolutely everything. And we all know that that's not going to work because most people's kitchens and lives are still set up for the fact that it's fucking December and there's still sweets lying about and there's it's still dark, it's still miserable. And if anything, if you're going to go to the gym, like realistically, it's the worst time to go at. So I think you're setting yourself up for failure, but I would also say that the emotion of having to go super hard probably wouldn't be as high if you weren't a fucking idiot from September to December.
I agree. And I think the cherry on top of the cake as well is overindulging over the festive period as well. People tend to write off the rest of the year kind of from September onwards because they don't feel like there's any point in starting that late on in the year because for some reason January seems to be everybody's Monday, in terms of months of the year, um, or in terms of days of the week. Sorry. So the overindulging part over Christmas, people go really hard at it because they want to quote unquote get it all out the system, and then fully reset in January. But yeah, the full reset in January, uh, it's like an overhaul of your whole entire life, and that also kind of bleeds into what Kyle's saying as well about setting yourself up for failure. Because if you're not slowly working away at the habits that you want to instill and that you want to live by, if you like over time, if you try and do that all at once, it's going to be a huge shock to the system. I do not care how motivated you feel, how on it you feel. It's not going to last, and it's been proven time and time and time again. There is, of course, always going to be one or two outliers, but the vast majority of us that try and overhaul everything, and have that expectation of being super good in January fail. Um, black and white, we fucking fail, and that is because we are approaching it the wrong way, the wrong mindset, the wrong mentality. But from my point of view, there shouldn't be an expectation to be super good in January just because you've had a bit of fun over the festive period, in my opinion.
I agree with both of yous. I am definitely not going very hard in January. I'm just getting back to normal, and it should be just part of lifestyle. Have any of you seen the 75 hard?
Yeah, I've got one of my clients on it. Shout out Big Stu, he listens to the podcast. Loyal
Hello.
listener.
Go on,
I
Stuart.
think it's the biggest load of shite, if I'm brutally honest. I think it is the biggest kind of like, oh, I'm locking in for January. I'm going to do 75 hard. You're just doing basic habits, like, but you've just added two or three extra workouts. Like, you don't need to do it, in my opinion. Yes.
Can you quantify what 75 hard is, please?
From what I've gathered now on the old TikTok, the source of all information for Shannon, it is basically locking in to making sure you get 10,000 steps every day. You do two workouts a day. You drink 3 liters of water a day. You make sure you get 8 hours of sleep a day. Um, Pretty sure that's really it. Some and your nutrition, your calorie count, and you do all that. So basically just your habits, but it's low calories. It is early rising, bedtime before 8 o'clock. Like it's all this kind of nonsense of grinding, from what I've gathered.
Before I give my 2 cents there, Gary, I know you were looking up because I felt like I was almost blinded by your screen going white there.
Yeah. Do you want me to give you the unofficial official 75 hard
Yeah,
challenge
the
rules? So
non-TikTok version of it.
the number one is follow a diet, and it's any diet of your choice. No cheating, no alcohol. So you're basically not having
Oh yeah,
any
no
kind
alcohol.
of snacky food, any alcohol. Two 45-minute workouts per day. One has to be outside. I believe going for a walk does count as, I mean, I know it counts as a form of exercise, but I believe it does have something to do with that 45-minute workout. It says drink a gallon of water a day. I fucking, what is a gallon? Um, Read 10 pages of non-fiction, so personal development,
Mm.
no audiobooks, and take daily progress pictures. That is, and then number six here is fail anything and you start over again.
Everything.
Everything you start day one again from the get-go. Um, just to quickly clarify this, by the way, I know I said Stuart was doing it, but he's actually doing a modified version because obviously he's being coached, and it would kind of wouldn't really coincide with it very, very well. So we're doing a bit of a modified version, for what fits kind of him and his lifestyle. Instead of reading 10 pages, he's reading one, stuff like that. But yeah, Kyle, do you want to get your two pence worth in?
Shannon only hates it because she's dyslexic and 10 pages would take her 75 days.
Well, I'm not allowed an audiobook apparently, so I'm fucked.
Um,
Fucked altogether. Damn yous. It was
right,
like a
okay.
book
Uh,
club. Side note, I was going to join a book club, but then they told me no audiobook, so I couldn't join because Well, I'm not going to fucking read it, am I?
No, unless it's got pictures.
Yeah.
Shannon joins a book club and rocks up with a bike.
So, from my 2 cents worth, there's the Gymshark 90 thing that's going on at the moment as well, which is a kind of bare
Mm.
75 hard, but for social media. Um, whilst part of me, I don't like the idea of the fact there's a time scale on it and there's certain known certain things that probably set you up for failure and resetting it. I actually don't think there's anything wrong with committing to a period of time where you're going to do things. I think the biggest issue that most people have is like, oh, I'm going to try it for a week, or I'm going to try it for like 4 weeks and see what happens. Like the biggest issue I think most people have is overestimating where they can go in 4 weeks' time and underestimating where they can go in 6 months' time. I think someone sticking to something with non-negotiables that is outside their comfort zone isn't necessarily a bad thing, because a lot of people feel fucking miserable, if we're being honest. And a lot of the thing that would make people feel better is actually doing the thing. Like thinking about the thing is sometimes harder than doing the thing, and what this does is give them rules. I don't have I'm always going to look at things as the optimal way of doing things. Would I prefer somebody find a system that actually fits their life rather than trying to fit their life around it? Yeah, 100%. Do people actually sometimes need to take a step back and make changes in their life? Yeah, 100%. I don't actually think, whilst extremes aren't great, I also think we need to look at balance. There are periods of balance, are always, I think it was Jordan Peterson, maybe it was Sciat Fitness, the two very different people, but I think one of them said periods of balance always come after periods of imbalance. You need periods of imbalance in your life. Christmas is a period of imbalance that everybody wants to embrace, yet everybody seems to get a sore bum when it comes to like, oh, January is a period of imbalance. Like, if that hurts you, then I'm sorry, but like the internet's not for you. I think from a point of view, if you're willing to send it from like most people starting their Christmas nights out mid-November and just getting really loose with things, there's nothing wrong with winding alcohol back in for a wee while. There's nothing wrong with going a week or two without indulging in a takeaway. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. It is a period of imbalance. Would I love you to live with it? Yeah, 100%. But you know what? See, if you want to go for a wee period of actually putting some of the stuff that hasn't been serving you overly great, yes. The biggest issue that most people do is go with the expectancy of doing it from, I'm doing this because I feel like I have to, rather than the fact that you want to. The expectation should be done from you. Anytime, I know I spoke to both of you about this. Fuck it, I'm putting it out on the table. Like, I'm not hiding it in here. You just both talked about vaping, and I was like, you need to
What?
do. Like, I would spell it out for you, Shannon, but you wouldn't be able to read it. But both talked about giving up vaping, and I was like, you won't give it up until such times as you're ready to give up. And again, there was probably a bit of an emotional charged text thread between all of us on that point, because realistically, when it came to me and alcohol, you could have spoke to me for years and years and years about the way I was conducting myself, and I wasn't in a position where I was ready to change. Yeah, I wanted it, but at the same time, I also, when it got to the time where my cravings and what I wanted from alcohol, I wasn't willing to give that up. There are points where it's good to remove yourself from a situation to actually see how you feel about it, but I think you need to be ready to do that rather than have somebody else impose that on you, if that makes sense.
What a way to fucking throw me under the bus here, Kyle.
Yeah.
Do you know
Making
what?
us sound like shit coaches now. God forgive us for having fucking normal lives and sometimes having bad habits.
Well, here,
Fuck's sake. I want to stay on my pedestal.
well, there's the point. See if you're going to use this podcast as a platform to try and throw everybody else under the bus. Be prepared to be thrown under the bus. Fucking live by the sword and die by the sword. They might think you're hilarious, but now they think you're a junkie.
Fucking hell.
I need that
Fucking-
nicotine hit.
Kyle with the fresh haircut coming at us, man. I miss long hair. Kyle, I'm not gonna
Fresh
lie.
haircut and 6 minutes on the bed. The man's living his best life.
You had a wee 6 minute on the beds.
Mate, I haven't been to a sunbed since 2023. Now I'm getting thrown under the bus since 2023. And you know what? I was like, I'm walking past, I've got time to kill for the first time in a long time because I had to get out of the house for a wee bit. And I'm like, do you know what? I'm going to go in and get a wee 6 minute. And you know what? Felt great after. I'm not going to, probably be another 2 years before I get another one. But you know what? A wee haircut, a wee sunbed. I'm throwing everybody under the bus and I'm prepared to take it.
Fucking excellent, man. You just need to start 75 hard now and you're right on it.
And commit to 6 minutes a day in the beds.
6 minutes a day. I'd end
Yeah.
up. I'll not even go into that yet. Go on.
I'm actually scared of the beds.
I agree with exactly what you said, Kyle. Like, I don't think there's a bad thing to have set rules and things to kind of live by for a short period of time. But it's that expectation, it's that extra um what's the word I'm looking for here? Somebody help me out. Pressure, that's the word. It's that extra pressure that you're putting on yourself that's going to make things a hell of a lot harder. Where does the expectation come from that you have to be good in January? Where is that materialized? Is that because you're seeing things on social media where lots of people do have a bit of a soft reset in January? Um, what you need to remember is there's no on-off switch with your health and fitness, with your journey. You don't just switch off for the month of December, off for the last 2 to 3 months of the year, and then you switch it back on again in January. That is not, in my opinion, a healthy lifestyle. That is not a balanced lifestyle. That is you going through periods of being quote unquote good and then periods of being a fucking idiot and running your health right into the ground to the point where you actually do have to start again. You have to find that balance, right? It's okay to overindulge at Christmas as long as you don't drag it out any longer than it has to be. Does that mean you have to fully reset in January and you have to be good? No, because if you're already living your life with a kind of balanced lifestyle, then you're going to be absolutely fine. Like you said at the start of the podcast, Shannon, you're just getting back to normal. You're literally just getting back to the way that you live your life year round. Kyle, shut the fuck up. Year round.
He's definitely going
It's
to make a
not.
joke about me not being normal or something.
It's not on off, right? We're just literally getting back to normal. We're relaying the foundations. We're setting up the intentions for the year ahead, and then it's all go from there. Kyle, what can I do
I
for
think
you,
we
sir?
need. I think we need to be careful about what we define as normal because what most people's normal lives aren't serving them in the first place. Most people's normal life, they live unhappy, unhealthy, and to be honest, making some changes isn't necessarily a bad thing. That is on. I hate, and I absolutely fucking hate when people make it out on social media as if it's super, super easy to get in shape and try and cheat it. I'm like, it's not. And I think that's the biggest issue we need to dispel. Getting in shape is not easy. It's simple. It's not easy. Yes, you making it harder for yourself by following rules that somebody else made up does not make it easier. But I would be careful about saying people need to go back to normal because most people's normal lives aren't particularly normal. Most people abuse foods, most people abuse alcohol, most people abuse fucking sleep. I mean, running on 3 hours sleep and eating takeaways 5 times a week, you're not giving yourself the best opportunity to feel good. So do you know what? Maybe it's not the worst thing that you cut a few of these things out. Not all of them. Do you know what? Find someone that can help you put them into a better structure. But I think I would be careful about saying going back to normal.
Yeah, yeah. To put that in the context, I was referring to mine and Shannon's lifestyle, the way we
Normal.
live our life. Yes, so normal for us is fairly balanced. All right.
Going
Um,
back, going back to vaping, is it? Is that what it is? Is that no? Is
I,
that
I,
what?
I mean, I've no went away for it, so there you go.
Yeah.
You can probably hear it in my
Committed
fucking
to the
throat right now.
cause, boy.
No, yeah. So, yeah, I'm glad you cleared that up for this, Kyle. But yeah, when I was just referring to kind of mine and Shannon falling back into a normal, balanced lifestyle that we've built for ourselves through small changes and habits that we've built throughout the year. As I said, there's no on-off switch. We are always on. Your health and fitness journey is more like a dial rather than an on-off switch. So it's always on. You choose that there's going to be times in the year where you have to dial it back a wee bit, you have to turn it down, but still in the background it is still on. And then there's going to be times of the year where you can fucking ramp it up, full power, full volume, whatever you want to call it, and you can take things up a notch. But it is always on. 365 days of the year, 366 days on a leap year. It never ever switches off. But yeah, like the main thing, I know I keep coming back to it, but it's the main thing that I really want to talk about is that expectation. Because when I was talking to one of my clients about it, she was giving herself a really, really hard time for enjoying her birthday last weekend. Big 4-0, you know what I mean? Bit of a milestone birthday. And she was giving herself a really hard time for actually letting her hair down and enjoying the weekend because it was her that actually said to me, there's this expectation that we need to be super good in January. And whilst there's nothing wrong with setting yourself goals like 75 hard or that fucking Gymshark 90-day thing, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, as Kyle said. It's good to set yourself some targets as long as your expectations of those targets are realistic, but it's that giving yourself a hard time for things like enjoying your birthday or something like important
I'm going
socially
on
that
holidays
comes
at the
up
end of
in
January.
January. Yeah. So it's just the that where does this expectation come from? Is it social media that's brought it on? Is it people because people are setting up new goals for the year? They all start in January. Like how is this all transpired? Where has it come from? And that's what I was meaning by like mine and Shannon and you as well, Kyle. Like we've all built this lifestyle for us where we do just get back to normal. Now that's obviously not going to work for your average person who does struggle with eating, drinking, vaping, and not exercising. Uh, but yeah, where does that expectation come from?
I think
We might not even
January
have
is
an
an
answer.
emotional time, and a lot of emotions are heightened because it's a new year, it's a new slate. You can reinvent yourself, and I think that's where the expectations come from. Is this whole like I can completely change my life as of the 1st of January.
Mm,
I think hype is very high. Um, Again, it's a fresh slate, and there's nothing wrong with making changes. Um, you may or may not have noticed, I'm speaking to the audience here, that this is the first year, I think, in 10, 15 years, or 10 years of biofitness anyway, like we've not put out a like looking for clients advert in January. And that's been done intentionally because I have noticed that, like, whilst we are busy, and people coming inward, I think when you put an outward message out there in January, you do attract a lot of people who want to get involved because people ultimately they buy with emotion, justify with logic. Emotion's super high, and a lot of the time they're not coming on for the right reasons, and you end up fighting a fight in terms of like trying to force somebody. As much as you're setting it up for their life, you're forcing somebody who doesn't really want to make changes, like because they felt like it in the moment, but 2 months down the line they don't really feel like it. You do find when that's settled and a bit more reflective, the people who really want to make changes probably are making changes in February, March, April, May. We also need to look at the fact that like science here, 86% of people I think fail New Year's resolutions by the third week in January. Like there's so let's just boil that down to simplification here. We used to do this, I don't know about schools in Ireland, Shannon, but we used to do this in Scotland. Try and make it as simple as you can. Most people are wrong. So when most people go out charging out, the way I view the year is a bit like when you watch, if you lined up people to run a marathon and you watched everybody just absolutely sprint out the gates, it can be very tempting to start sprinting with them. But at the same time, if you actually fast forward to 2 kilometres in, most of them are stopped dead and don't ever finish the race. You're much better just going forward and going at a pace that you can sustain rather than trying to, again, absolutely melt it.
yeah, very good analogy, mate. I was able
I'm
to
just thinking of me
completely
at High Rocks the whole time.
I was able to completely visualize it. Yeah, it is an emotional time. Hype is very, very high. That pressure that you do put on yourself as well to completely reset, especially if you've written off the end of the year by September time, like you are just fucking giving yourself a humongous uphill battle to fight. And then middle of January, third week in January, 86% chance that you fail. Pretty fucking high, to be honest. Pretty much 8.5, 9 out of 10. So yeah, you're going to fail. As I said, there's always going to be that kind of that one outlier that pushes through and does make a change. But yeah, the pressure, the expectation, it's in my opinion, if you want long-term sustainable habits for your health, longevity, the pressure is just not worth it, in my opinion. And if you're really struggling to find a way to sort your shit out, it's exactly why we're in this profession. We're here to help. Do not be scared to ask any questions. Kyle, you look, I could see, I could actually hear your brain there.
Yeah, no, I was just wondering, like, pressure is usually expectation versus reality, but the question is, who's putting the pressure on? Like, where are you feeling the pressure? In my life, and I'd be guilty of this, most of the pressure that I ever feel is self-imposed. And when I take a wee step back, I'm going, well, whose expectations am I following? It's my own expectations of what I'm following. And that comes directly from me. I know it's easy for me to say because similar to you and Shannon, I have built a life where like realistically I can turn the taps on and turn the taps off. Like if through Christmas, and again, full disclosure, I think I'd said this to both yous, one of yous, don't know, but I was like, through the month of December, I think there was 2 days where I didn't drink something, and I put on 3 kilos over, like, there was eating, there was drinking, and I ripped arse right out until the 4th of January, because realistically, New Year didn't start till the 5th, don't care what MD says. But at the same time, see, come the 5th, I'm like, right, well, do you know what, I'm gonna, first step, we're not drinking every day. Like, we'll probably, whilst the intention isn't to do dry January, it's just a case of I'm just going to stop drinking until such times as a reason to actually do it, or I want to do it. That could be next week, that could be next month, that could be in a year's time. I don't know when that is, but I think for a lot of time it's like, where are you putting that pressure? Because I've gone into January's and I've been like, right, I have sent the arse out this. I need to go January to March because I heard someone down the road is doing January to March off it. And I was like, no takeaways in January and no caffeine. And I remember turning up to the gym that I worked in, and Kean was there at the time coaching someone, and his client and him just laughed at me and go, "You look awful." And I'm like, I fucking feel awful because you know what? I've not drank any caffeine. I've not had any weekend. I've not had anything. And I was like, I literally went straight to the shop, and I didn't just get one can of Monster. I rattled two into me. And I'm like, but the thing is, when you do these restrictive things, you end up feeling like you have to do that because you do get to a breaking point. And it's like, what's the point? So if you do that with alcohol, you end up getting to a weekend and you absolutely send it, feel miserable, and all of a sudden you've done more damage over that weekend than you would have ever done in a normal weekend. If you do it with food, it's the same thing again. If you set expectations, and most people live their lives week to week like this, going, "Oh, I'm not going to have any takeaways because I feel terrible after the weekend because we got Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we got takeaways. So my expectation this week is I'm going to get none." Don't do that. I'll tell you what to do. The reason you're having takeaways most of the time is because you like spending time with your family and you don't want to cook, and you know what, it's nice to sit down and watch a movie and have a takeaway. Plan for the fucking takeaway, but instead of having three of them because you've fucking ate nothing but salads all week, why don't you actually eat like a normal human being and plan for a Saturday night and the fact that you know you're going to go for a takeaway and you plan everything else around it? Like, and then all of a sudden you don't feel the guilt and you actually enjoy it. You fucking idiot, you.
Oh, for fuck's sake, Kyle, man. Jesus Christ. You just called out 95% of your lot. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Ex-listeners.
Now ex-listeners. Quick side note here. I don't know why it's popped into my head, right? But see if you're doing dry January and you continue to drink after the bells, that means you've already failed dry January.
Nah, mate. No, January didn't kick into the 5th, mate.
No, not having it.
But see,
Yeah,
the
I said
problem with
January.
dry January now is we have a bank holiday, St. Bridget's Day. Yup, St. Bridget.
That's fair.
And yeah, but the weekend that it ends is the bank holiday Sunday.
But that's in February, Shannon.
No, but the 31st is the Saturday. Oh yeah, you are right. This year it didn't happen. Last year it happened that the Sunday, the bank holiday Sunday was
Right,
still
so
January and people were out.
Shannon's point to this is dry January is hard because it's a bank holiday in February. There you go. No wonder people think you're hilarious.
Jesus Christ. But anyway, my point stands. If you continue to drink after the bells, you've already failed dry January, so stop giving yourself a hard time and plan for a beer.
I'm with Gary now because I know it annoys Kyle.
Right, okay. I will go with the point, and this is the point. How you deal with failure will dictate your success. So if you look at it and go, right, I've already failed, but do you know what? I'm still charging on. So a version of me in the past, I'm like, do you know what? If I broke, I'll just go because I've snubbed you two for vaping. I'll go with alcohol, right? So we'll all go with our Achilles heels here. So there'll be many weekends where I'd be like, just as I said, got to the weekend, have 3 weeks in, went, oh, do you know what? I'm done. I'm going to go and get, because I miss Desperados, I'm going to get like a fucking 8-pack of Desperados, 6%. Yeah, I didn't need your sound effects there, Shannon. Did I use it? Ooh, when you talk about your angle vapes? Right. You don't, it's not your turn. So when it comes to that, I think when you break that, all of a sudden it's like, oh, do you know what? I'm not built out for this. I can't do this. It's too difficult. But rather than do that, go, do you know what? Like, let's just maybe go another couple of weeks, because you know what? I don't feel overly great when I'm doing it every week. So do you know what? I'm going to have a few drinks, and that's okay. Similar to what you said, Shannon, you're away this weekend, you're away in a 3 day bender. Most people would carry on the following week going, well, I fucked it, do you know what? I had 3 weeks without it. I'm going to go another bender. Before you know it, it's March, and then they're going, oh, I need to get in shape for my summer holiday, and I'll give myself a month, and then before they feel like it, they start in May, and then realistically, their summer holidays in June, they spend all their money, they get to September, it's close enough to Christmas, but you know what? We'll just write off Christmas, and then go, oh, why do I feel like I need to go so extreme in January? It's like, because you've done fuck all the rest of the year, because you keep on making it shitey excuses.
Yeah, that kind of leads on to the point that I was going to make as well. Like, if this is a cycle, if this is something that you do year after year after year, then it's obviously not the way to go because it's not fucking worked the previous 10 plus years. So why do you continue to do the same shit every year, make the same mistakes every year, but expect something different? There's a wee man or a big man.
He,
Hey.
he's just been eating
Put
donuts.
your daddy.
Look at the wee belly on him. Fat shaming your child. Belly.
And he's loving it. He's like, yeah.
He's having a great time.
As he
Audio
said,
listeners, pull your car over, have a wee look.
as he said,
Yep.
he's pressing spacebar at the moment. But I'll tell you what. See, I'm going to put the camera down. You giving a wee switch, right? See, in April it's his second birthday. I'm going to get my phone and my fitness pal, and he's going to get his shit together. Count your calories. Don't. There you go. Right, we're going to get rid of you now. See you later.
Toddles
He's
away.
like, absolutely not.
Yeah, we didn't.
Sorry for interrupting there. Just had to give Finn back to his rightful parent.
It's all good. So the point that I was making was, if this is a cycle and it's something that you do year after year, then it's quite obviously no fucking working. These full resets in January aren't working for you. So why do you continue to do them but expect a different outcome? It's mind-boggling. This is the year 2026 is the year for change, right? Try something different, try a different approach. Don't go all in if it hasn't worked before. Bring Kyle.
Why don't you think people make changes even though they know the thing that they're doing is really hard to sustain?
It's easy to stay in your comfort zone, isn't it? Where you can control the outcome of it.
I'm still trying to figure out what the fuck you just asked me.
So I think many people know what they're doing isn't serving them, but they're stuck in a cycle of doing it. I think. Go on, sorry.
Uh, yeah, ignorance being one of them. Lack of knowledge and understanding, and because everybody wants an easier option, everybody would rather take the easier option instead of accepting that it's going to take a little bit of hard work. And I, like Shannon said as well, there is an element of staying in your comfort zone. People aren't willing to make the sacrifices that they truly need to make the progress that they really fucking want. Lots of people are set in their ways. Now, obviously, we've got this new miracle drug that's helping people lose a fuck ton of weight in such a short space of time. So people are too comfortable, lack knowledge and understanding of what they actually do have to do, or they're just being super, super ignorant to what they have to do because they cannot be arsed doing the hard stuff.
I think a lot of the time it comes down to not willing to go into the deeper end of things and actually looking at what they'll have to give up as a byproduct.
Mhm.
It's very rarely down to what they actually want. Lots of people want it. It's just a case of actually knowing what they have to do. So, for instance, I think it can be easy to say that you want to get in shape and be willing to do the things. But if your environment dictates that you have a partner who's not in that mind frame and they come home every Wednesday to Sunday and go, well, we'll just get takeaway tonight. Well, do you want one of these that I got home from work? Do you want to go out at the weekend for dinner? Do you want to go and do this? The harder question is, how do we spend time with each other to do things differently that still fits within you trying to make progress? That can be some of the more difficult conversations that you have to have. And I know we were talking on our call yesterday about good coaching versus bad coaching, but I think so many things, and I think people actually look at, like, I don't want to say it's disrespectful, but I think people underestimate how actually difficult it is to to get in shape. A lot of people are like, oh, it's calories in, calories out. Well, why aren't you doing it then? Like if it's just a case of doing this, the bigger issue actually comes down to the psychology of what you have to give up in the first place or what you have to do. And a lot of the times people actually are willing to, like, if someone's willing to have 3 juices a day and nothing else for 3 months to lose weight, it's not a case of they want it enough. Like if you're willing to not chew on anything for 3 months to get in shape, because people do that, but the issue is they have no idea how to then look at bringing that into the real world. No idea when someone asks them out on a night out how to actually navigate that. No idea. And as a byproduct, they don't think they can. So they get stuck in these cycles of having to be super restrictive and then super on it, super off it, because they don't ask themselves the harder questions of what does it mean to do this? What does it actually mean to step back and have a question on this? What does it actually mean if you could go out on a Saturday and instead of having 8 pints and like 4 vodkas and a Skittle bomb, what's to say that you could still look and feel the way you want if you go out and have 5 pints? But let's look at, instead of the beer that you really love, like, or the wine that you really love, you change that to a lighter beer, not your preference, but still a beer, or like a vodka and soda water. Like, and instead of having a takeaway at the end of the night, like, and you've got your food prep the following day, like you can go and do that. It's just a case of actually setting that up. But a lot of people think it's still on this, it's either on or off, and then they've lost trust in themselves because they keep on doing things. Like if you've done, like, we've all done these things where you do something super restrictive and then you fail at them, because like the biggest issue, to go bring it back full circle, I have a 75 hards, Gymshark 90, whatever. They're difficult. They're simple enough, but they're difficult enough that the majority of people are probably going to fail at it. But when you fail at something, what that does to you psychology wise, is the fact that if I failed at that, I can't trust myself. I can't trust myself to do anything. And you get in a cycle of going, I am not cut out for this. And because of that, you then have this internal narrative of there's comfort and safety in food. I'm going to go comfort and safety in food. Whereas I'm not saying it's wrong. But if you had a system that actually fitted your life a bit better and you were willing to look at the things that you are, and again, it's all about conversations, speaking to the environment around you, looking at what you need to do to actually set up for that, then I think you can absolutely get what you want from life. That's my 2 cents on it. Also, last, not least point on this, when you're in a fat loss phase, and this is I think where most people fuck up, needs to be a level of sacrifice. Like a fat loss phase isn't forever. Like realistically, it should be outlined for a period of somewhere between 8 and 12 weeks. Realistically, that's enough to see life-changing results. Over that 8 to 12 weeks, you probably need to accept the fact that, again, just what I said, you're going out to the pub, it's probably 4 or 5 with like lighter beers, lighter drinks. Like you're not having takeaways if that's your choice. And then if you don't want to go for drinking, then go for a takeaway, but no drinking. But realistically, if you think you can continue to live the life that hasn't served you overly well and the results you're getting isn't feeling good, they're probably going to have to make some changes. And that's for a shorter period of time. But see, when you get into the shape that you want, similar to what Shannon and Gary were saying, at that point, yes, you can literally, if you wanted to go, like, sure, I went 3 weeks in December and like still had 6 packs abs showing. That's not because of genetics. That's because the rest of the year I make sure that I'm doing the thing. Like it's a case of doing the thing more often than not. Like,
Yeah, I think for people to take a bit of a step back and look at it from the outside in and actually realize the sacrifices that I have to make, it can be a scary thing. Like, I'm sure you have worked with people over the years as well, but I've worked with a few people that just not willing to change the lifestyle, but still expect the results, because they're paying us money to figure out all their shit for them, um, which is very difficult to do when you're not willing to make any sort of changes yourself. A lot of people just, because they're handing over money, they expect us to make a wave a magic wand, and then all their problems are solved and all their goals are met and everything they want in life is achieved. It's not as easy as that on paper, on black and white, as Kyle mentioned before. It's simple, but actually putting that forward and action in it is fucking hard, and you will have to sacrifice a couple of things, maybe more, uh, for a short period of time, not forever, depending on what way you do want to continue living your life. But you do have to start building in or factoring in some new habits, making some changes, um, but not putting a massive amount of excuse me, pressure on yourself to get everything fucking perfect, because we don't care about being perfect. We just care about being consistent, and that is why Kyle is able to have 6 pack abs whilst bevying, whilst having takeaways, because he was super consistent and he'd done the thing for most of the year.
and I don't vape.
Actually, vaping, it was your fault. I'm blaming Kyle for my vaping because it was when I was prepping for my photo shoot that I got into vaping because I what basically there we go. Right, this is a fucking great example of what we're talking about. For my photo shoot prep, was it 16 weeks ish, Kyle?
Ish, yeah.
Yeah, super intense dieting. Obviously, we didn't start off super intense, but as the later and later we got into the dieting phase, it did get more intense. My calories went down, my movement went up. I was fucking hungry. And for anybody that listens to the podcast on a regular basis, you all know that I've got a mad sweet tooth. Like, love sweets, love fizzy sweets. I had to sacrifice them. I literally had to cut them out because there was no way that I could fit them into my diet on the calories I was on because I had a goal in mind because I wanted to get in photo shoot condition. I wanted abs. I wanted to look as lean as I possibly could. So I made that short-term sacrifice. Now, granted, I did get into the vaping because it was sweet and there's no calories in it. But
There
for that,
is.
is there?
Yeah.
I'm vaping calories.
You're vaping calories, apparently. I can't remember who told me that recently, and I was like, you know what, I'm not surprised, but I also don't care.
Right, I'm going to step in here, and I'm not going to justify vaping, but I am going to do it for a fat loss point of view. Nicotine by itself, whether it be gum vaping or whatever, is actually a very decent stimulant. In terms of like nootropic, it helps you focus. It does technically a bit like caffeine. It does help you in terms of like the energy that you can use. It does help digestion in terms of like, or stimulates digestion more than helps it. So in terms of like, I don't know about you guys, but if you ever have like a nicotine gum, like you're literally in the fucking toilet pan like within 20 minutes, half an hour. Like it's got inevitable where it does stimulate the gut. Shannon, you look like you're on the toilet pan now. You've got something to say?
No, that doesn't happen to me.
Um, well, you're technically a outlier then because it does stimulate the gut massively. So if you look at anybody who does bodybuilding and or physique type stuff, you will notice that most likely when it comes to that, again, not long term solutions, but like caffeine gets ramped up. So like if we're talking about like calories, I want to be clear on this. Like calories in, calories out are really what's going to dictate like fat loss. But if you are looking for the smaller things that I wouldn't say aren't sustainable, caffeine helps suppress appetite. You can rattle your caffeine up. Again, not a long term strategy and not advice. Please take this as not advice. But like realistically, like it's not been unheard of to go up to 500 milligrams to a gram of caffeine per day because it oxidizes fat into the bloodstream, suppresses appetite. You technically burn like 5 to 10% more calories a day if you do that. Again, you look at nicotine, it works kind of similarly to that. I I can't condone any of it long term. But in terms of like, I'm not going to sit in a high horse myself and go, I haven't rattled like nicotine gum to get in photo shoot condition because I have. My only issue is I know my own personality, and I'm like, I found myself getting to the point where after the photo shoot, I was still taking nicotine gums to watch a film in the evening time because I couldn't concentrate without it. And I'm going, right, at this point, I need to live without this because I've not had I've not had nicotine in about 2 years because of that, with the exception of having a few pints in me and like somebody going, do you want a fag? And I'm like, that happens about 3 times a year. So, like that's a
I I don't know if you can say that word anymore.
Oh
it's
no,
our,
in Ireland you can.
it's our podcast. I don't give a do
Yes,
what we
come
want.
on.
Yeah. It's very common. You wouldn't say cigarette over here now.
No, no, it's the same here. It's the same here. But remember,
Okay, good.
we have international listeners. So just to clarify, fag is cigarette.
Correct.
Yeah. You'll be
Um,
fag.
certain Christmas tunes use similar words, and they've not been banned in all places yet. So
Well,
They try to, but they won't ban it.
that is very true. It actually gets muted on the radio over here.
there's many
Gimps.
songs that I think should be muted before that song gets muted. But that's a conversation for a different day. But I think going back to the point in terms of yes, short term things can work for like adherence, but like in terms of like sustainability, and I think this was what the entire podcast was meant to be about. Sustainability, like realistically, you do want to find something that you can see yourself doing more often. Not at times, again, that might mean going a week or two without a takeaway, but that also might mean that you enjoy your takeaway on week 3 a bit more. There will probably is going to be weeks in your life where you have a takeaway twice a week, and that's like there's been weeks in my life, like sure, December time, November time, Jen's dad was dying. I was like, she wasn't in the house, I wasn't in the house, she was coming home late. I didn't know when we were making dinner or what was happening. It literally was I'm picking up takeaway. And I'm like, we were having takeaway 2 or 3 times a week. That's a period of imbalance. But do you know what? I don't feel I don't feel overly bad for that because I'm like, right, well, right now in January, I'm kind of got no real reason to have a takeaway. As much as some nights I'd enjoy it, and I probably am going in next week have one. I'm like, I'm not just going to have it for the sake of having it because you know what, my period of imbalance was back in November, December. Not that I'm paying for it now. Like realistically, if I had to take away this week, it'd be all right. I know how to manage it. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm not actively going out there to do it just out of routine.
Yeah. Um, let me ask you. Let me ask you this question then. Do you feel there is an expectation for people to be super strict and super on it in January, in your personal and professional opinion?
I think you'll find whatever you're looking for. Genuinely, like you go, and the Instagram algorithm will just back up. So if you look at one thing, you're going to be surrounded by it, and you give it too much attention. I think I don't personally feel like I genuinely don't look at it and go, I feel an expectation to be smashing it. I've never really had the comparison of, as I see other people doing stuff, and if anything, my automatic thought process is, well, let's see it do it in a wet, rainy night in March. I'm like, genuinely, I don't think you're going to do it. Yeah, fuck it, I'll put it out there. Like, sure, there's certain PTs that every single year they put up, oh, this is what I'm going to do this year. And I just fucking screenshot it and I send it in the group chat and I go, guarantee none of that will happen. And like, have I been right the last 2 years? Because we've got the screenshots. Yes, I've been right.
Yep.
And I'm like, is it a dangerous message for certain people to take on board? Depends on how you feel. I'm like, I think you can put anything out there. Like, it's the internet, go and do what you want. But at the same time, I'm like, until somebody backs it up, I don't feel the pressure on that. Who are you running this race against? Like, realistically, I'm running the race against myself from last year. I had a particularly challenging year last year. It wasn't a terrible year in terms of I still have some progress. I don't mean like body composition progress. I just mean in terms of what I've achieved in my life. I'm like, I can go back and go, there's progress here. This year is literally going more. But I think a lot of people are scared to fail, and that's where the pressure comes. If you're not failing at something, I had this conversation with Jen. I'm like, if you're not failing at something, I don't feel like you're doing life properly. I feel the majority of people, it's like the same person that you know, people you meet in school, and it's like you've seen them when they were like 16 years old, and now they're like double that, if not more. And you're going, you have not changed a day. You still hang about with the same people. You still do the same things. You still almost talk about the same things and still have the emotional intelligence of the same thing. I'm not saying that as if we're better or whatever. It's just more of a case of there's no change there and that's fine. But I'm also going, that's not a life for me. I would like to see the version of me at 16 years old is very different to the version of me now. And for that to happen, you need to fail at things. I have failed at more things than I have achieved, but I've achieved a lot of things because I've failed things. And I think you need to be okay at failing things. It's okay to put things on place. See if you want to go and do a hard 75 or 75 hard or whatever the fuck it's called, bat on. But see if you get to the end of 2 weeks in and go, wow, I failed at that. Class, what did you learn? What did you learn that you can implement? How did you feel? What worked well? What didn't work well? Then change it. Was it Stu that's doing it at the moment? Is that his name?
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
Yep.
So Stu's doing it at the moment. I'm sure his modified version of that, he's picking the best of what actually is good. What's good about it? Non-negotiables are there. There's a time frame. He's given himself all of that, and it's like there's a discipline element to that. The biggest issue is your ability to reflect on failure, in my opinion. And the pressure only comes from the fact if you're feeling like you're walking off a plank, then the boat's going to sail away from you. That feels shit. But I think most people don't understand it's not a plank, it's a path. You're walking on a path, you might come off the path, but see when you come off the path, you look, you take a step back and go, oh, the path's just over there, and you keep on walking back on that path. It's a path, not a plank.
Mate, these analogies have been absolutely tremendous today.
Haircut, mate. Haircut.
It's the haircut. You've got fresh views on
And the
things.
6 minutes on the beds.
I don't even.
Yeah.
I'd say he was writing them all down while on the bed, being like, fuck, that's great.
Yeah,
it's not good for your eyes. You need to keep your eyes.
6 minutes on the beds with no phone, no music, no nothing, just you
Just
and
his
your own
thoughts.
thoughts.
Shannon, if you think you have got 9 people speaking to you, I've got about 1,000 thoughts going on at one time. It's like the Matrix, where it's too much. I'm just like, wow, yeah, no, not for it.
I'll be perfectly honest with you, mate. I don't think I can add anything to that. I think you
No.
rounded that off incredibly well, mate. Yeah, don't be scared to fail. I have failed many, many times, more than I would like to admit in my life, but it's got me to the point where I am today. Back when I was a teenager, even early 20s, I would take failure personally. I would berate myself for a failure. I would make myself feel worse about failing at something. Whereas nowadays, it's very much taken in my stride. I take it on the chin, and yeah, I take a step back and I do ask myself, what have I learned? And I do this with clients as well. If they maybe feel like they have failed at something or it's not quite gone the way that they had hoped, we take a bit of a um, review it, I guess. What went well, what didn't go well, why did it work, why didn't it work, how does it make you feel? And then we go from there. But stop running away from failure, remaining comfortable. If you're happy in your comfort bubble and you're happy with how you live and you're happy with how you look and you're happy with your fucking the shit you talk about with your friends, like Kyle said, fucking bat on, like crack on. You're absolutely fine. If you're unhappy with how you live and look and your life in general, something has to change. There's going to be failures along the way, but as long as you're being super consistent at putting one foot in front of the other, it doesn't matter how fucking slow you're walking along the path that Kyle mentioned, it does not matter as long as you are continuing to put one foot in front of the other day after day, week after week, month after month. You are going to see progress in the long run. Stop trying to make it fucking hard for yourself and walk across a plank instead of aiming for the path.
I just want to add to that in terms of adaptability and failure. So I'm going to put it in relative terms. Something that really fucking annoys me and boils my blood is when I probably shouldn't have came on this podcast today, but something that annoys and boils my blood is see when you get somebody that's like, I think I'm just going to take a break from the health and fitness thing for a while because of
Oh.
insert. I've got a new job. I'm moving house. I'm whatever, and it's like the smallest thing because they feel that they can't be perfect. We all fucking Stevie Wonder knows how this goes. So let's take a wee step back and think this logically. You think starting a new structure and routine and giving up health and fitness because it is just something apparently you can turn off completely. You think that's going to end up well? And sorry, you came on board in the first place because you were. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you weren't confident. You were overweight and hated the way you feel. You also feared for the fact that you weren't going to be able to play with your children the way you wanted to. Now, 2 months in, you've got a new job, and you think that taking a fucking break from your health and fitness is the right idea. Good going, Linda. So, in my opinion, what really happens there in having a conversation, and believe me, this isn't the way I speak to people. Well, not all the time. Sometimes it's needed. But, what was I going to say? A lot of time, people are like, your routine, let's say it's 10,000 steps, a magical 10,000 steps. Some people view that as like, oh, I can only get 8,000 steps, so that's a failure. I'm like, that's not a failure. Like 8,000 steps is still 4,000 steps more than you were doing before. 8,000 steps
Hmm.
is a decent target, but what we need to do is adapt your nutrition so that 8,000 steps still gives you the response that 10,000 steps did you before you stopped working, like you started your new job. Like it's about adapting things. Failure isn't the fact that a lot of people view it as going, I can't go to the gym 4 times a week anymore and I can't do 10,000 steps, so I need to take a break. Fucking calm down for a second. Like, take a wee step back. Let's look at what you're able to do. And then go, right, let's put it in a system that actually works for you because do you know what? You can mould it. Like, fuck me. Like, imagine a football analogy here, but imagine, like, Real Madrid sold Mbappe and they're like, oh, we can't play a 4-3-3 anymore. So do you know what? We're just going to give the football thing a break. Fuck off. Do you know what? You've got a player on the bench. Do 4-4-2. Sign a new player. Like adapt. Like that's why you're going to be the best team in the world. Like it doesn't matter what you've got. It's what you use within what you've got access to. You fucking idiots, you. And here, Real Madrid are looking for a new manager. That's why I'm putting myself out there.
You're very passionate this morning.
Um,
Yeah, there's a fire in his belly.
Have you had those 2 cans of Monster this morning?
I've got a few tough check-ins after this. I've been gearing myself up.
Yeah, mate. Beautifully said, beautifully done. I feel like for the last 50 minutes, it's been 45 minutes of Kyle speaking and me and Shannon just making noises in the background.
Yeah.
I'm asking you questions before you go. What is one thing?
Oh no,
Well,
this was the Kyle show. I was enjoying it.
I think it was the first episode of 2026 that Gary had his Gary show or whatever it was. It was just the Gary
Yeah, it
podcast.
was
It
Shannon's show last week. Now it's Kyle's show. It was great to get the break.
was great, but it's over. So I did text it into the group to give you a bit of warning. If you've not done your homework in the half hour I gave you, then you know what, you are about to get thrown under the bus. But what is one thing you used to believe about health and fitness that you now think otherwise about?
For me, it's the gym is where you go to lose weight.
Class.
I used to believe that, especially late teens, early 20s. Um, yeah, the gym would be where I went to burn as many calories as possible. Obviously wasn't burning anywhere near as much as I thought it was, but yeah, my belief back in the day was I had to go to the gym to lose weight. It was a tool to use to help me lose weight. I don't believe that anymore. I know that's not true. And I will fucking die on this hill that the gym is not somewhere you go to lose weight.
Class. Shannon?
Um, the fitness people were kind of very boring. They live boring lives. If anything, it's the polar opposite. I've met more interesting people than I did from drinking in a bar in my early teens. Yeah, they're still doing the same things, whereas like the people I now surround myself with, they're doing mad out shit, and I love it. I'm like, yes, like you go to fucking different countries and compete in that marathon, or like start your own like Pilates studio, whatever it is. They're just doing interesting things all the time, and I'm like, you wouldn't get that from just sitting in your local every week. So yeah, I used to think they were boring, but they're not. It's a lifestyle, not a choice.
It's funny because I fucking hate fitness people. Most fitness people. I probably couldn't disagree anymore with your point, Shannon, but I'm glad that
But
you
like fitness
agree.
people to me is like you guys. Like you to me, you are very interesting. You do like really cool things, and it can be the simplest stuff, like just parenting and
Yeah, I
getting in shape at
think
the same time. But it's more interesting than just sitting with the same people every week, going, "Oh, Jesus, isn't this great? Like we love drinking. Like, will we do a round of shots? Yeah.
I think we need to differentiate between fitness people and fitfluencers here, because when you
Oh
said fitness
yeah, like
people,
not fitfluencers, like they are not. I mean, like the people I now surround myself with, like they're all doing cool shit all the time, and it's
mm,
not like cool as in like absolutely bonkers out of the fucking ordinary stuff, but like even there, like a load of the guys are doing the Dundalk Half Marathon next weekend, and I'm fuming. I didn't realize it was the same time as me going to Edinburgh because I love watching them do these things. Takes 2 hours, say max, but like I love seeing them cross the finish line. I'm like, that's so cool.
Could you define what you mean by a fitness person?
Like my friends.
Are you so I would probably define a fitness person in my head as like I'm thinking fitness coaches. Like, what are you defining as fitness people? Sorry.
Like the people I generally just surround myself with now. Like my previously I would have been around with probably people that all they did was drink, probably doing drugs, not me, but the people I surrounded myself with. And we'd look at anyone that went to the gym being like, oh, they're a fitness person, like they're fucking boring ass. When really they're just normal human beings that are prioritizing the health and fitness.
Okay, sorry. Okay, well, I'll go back on my statement then because when you said fitness people, I'm defining that as a fitness coach or someone who is like
No, it's the
leading.
average person to me that's
Okay,
into fitness.
okay. So right, if we're defining that, then yes, I would agree. I don't think there needs to be like you can live a very normal life. If anything, you can live a very fulfilled life by moving. If anything, we're designed and programmed, we should be moving, and that's a positive. On that, anyway, like I don't need to go into that. It's just more so I'm like I had spent 10 years surrounded by PTs of all shapes, sizes, and across the world, and I'm like most fitness coaches I surround myself with, I couldn't feel any further away from because I feel that the message that was sent out was always the wrong one, or the life that they lived was always ungenuine compared to what they did. That I remember back in 2015, there was a guy who he was one of the first who, to his credit, used to go on Facebook and put videos at the time. And he'd be talking about positivity and like surrounding yourself with good people and all that. The cunt would ignore you on the gym floor. I'm like, seen your video this morning talking about positivity and you're fucking ignoring everybody. I'm like, I couldn't be further from the truth. Like, but yes, 100%. I agree with your point.
Maybe I just got lucky surrounding myself with really nice people. Besides Kyle Watson, because he's always mean to me.
Um,
Bill's character, apparently.
you survived it, isn't it? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. The thing that I would say is that counting calories is restrictive. I was one of those where I was like, do you know what? If you just eat good foods and you move, then you'll get in shape. And I had bias around that because at the time I was doing fucking 4 classes a week plus 5 training sessions plus doing a bit of 5-a-side football plus like cycling to and from work. So I didn't realise that I was probably burning 4,000 calories a day and I could eat more or less whatever I wanted as long as I didn't go too hard on it. Turns out that actually, do you know what? I can do 4,000 steps a day as long as I watch my calories. I can still end up in great shape. So, and that wasn't even. I'd love to say after being a coach for 15 years that was only in the first couple of years of my journey. Man, it took me about 10 years to genuinely get to that point. So, yeah, I'd say it's only been the last 5 or 6, and I've really doubled down on it. But I'm like, yeah, it's still every day is a school day.
Yeah, I think it's a good one as well because that debate still comes up to this day. Calorie counting being too restrictive, people getting too obsessed with it and stuff like that. But yeah, I am fully on board with that one there as well, Kyle, mate. I'm trying to think if there's any more that I've maybe let slip under the radar, but the gym being a weight loss, gym going to the gym for weight loss is my number one thing. We should have a few more. We should get a few more of these for next episode so we can
Cardio is another one for me. I
open
didn't
up
like it. I
discussion.
did like it. I was just doing it really stupidly before.
What were you doing before, like super intense stuff?
Trying to bust myself with running. I used to like fun fact about me, Gary, if you didn't know, I was an All Ireland cross country runner as a child. Met the president. Mary McAleese, shout out. Did running for years. Then as I became a teenager, it wasn't cool anymore. So I fell out of love for it because it wasn't cool. And then smoked, then drank for ages. And I used to always say, no, running shite. Like I can't, because I couldn't do it because I was unfit. So I'd be like, no, it's shite. Like that's a load of nonsense. Running and cardio, it's all nonsense. No, it was me busting me bollocks every time I tried to do it and going too fucking quick that I'd be out of breath within 5 minutes and hating every second of it. See, when I like people talked about running high, I used to think it was the biggest load of nonsense. It was when I started running slow and like absolutely jamming out to my songs that I really enjoyed it. I was like, oh, this is amazing. I miss this so much. I can't wait to start running again when the cysts go.
I couldn't actually relate any more to that. I think when it comes to anything, the expectations of what people think something is ultimately what slows them back, and that's why I used the running analogy for the year. People who start running almost, I'm even going to say 86% of people who start running, don't quote me on that stat, but I would say run too fast and then end up burning themselves out and then go, oh, that was horrible. I'm like, well, you went and done something that you couldn't sustain for any longer than 3 minutes. Like, of course it was horrible. Like, that's not the way you should do it. It should be a conversation to start off. If you're getting into any form of cardiovascular work, like, you just want to do it at a pace you can keep a conversation at because your body will be able to keep up with the oxygen demand it needs. Hand up, go on.
I have never been able to hold a proper conversation with running though. You have tried to do that with me before, and I'm like, stop talking to me, just let me listen to my song so I can get the beat right.
Right, okay, well, sorry, I'll go ahead and rephrase that. Like, you are able to have a conversation because you're physically able to put together words. Not wanting to is a different thing. Like, that you're not able to run at the time, Shannon, you were doing 10Ks. Like, you're not able to run a 10K unless you're able to breathe at a point you can have a conversation with the majority of the time. So, whilst you might not have wanted to, you could have. In the same way that when somebody's deadlifting, you don't really want to be having a conversation with somebody at the same time, but you probably can. for a lot of people, though, you should be able to string together words. And the point is, if you're not able to put together, as a good indicator for running is, if you're at a point where you're like gasping for air and really struggling to put a word out, you're probably going too quick. Like, and not probably, I'm going to change that to
You are.
you're definitely going too quick. And it's your body giving you a sign that you've probably got somewhere between 60 seconds and 3 minutes left before you completely shut down and never want to do it again.
I
Fair
just
enough.
think about the time you tried to get me sub 30 and you were fully trying to have conversations the whole time. I was like, shut the fuck up, Kyle, shut the fuck up.
Well, Shannon, in fairness, that was towards the end because, and that wasn't for you, for my benefit, because
It
believe me,
was for me.
I didn't want to have a conversation with you either, but it was more so I was trying to get an assessment of where you were with your breath for that reason. Because I was like, if you can't put together more than a word, we need to slow down slightly. But because you could, I was like, as much as this is tough, you can go a bit fucking quicker. And did you get sub 30? Yes. Was it the last run that you ever done? Yes. Here we are.
Mic
Sis,
drop.
it turns out we're there the whole time.
We have not gave Dave and Toby a shout out this year, so thank you,
Oh
Dave
my
and Toby,
God, we're cruel.
that was your job, Shannon. You failed at it, so
No, my job is to do that. Bye.
you can't even do that properly sometimes.
And on that note, thank you all very much for listening to yet another fantastic episode. See you all next week.
Bye.